traditional Chinese musician's discovery of improvisation in a Western music therapy training program. Please give them a warm welcome.
So, hello.
Hello? Yeah?
Nearly there. Hello. Oh, one more.
Here we go. Hello.
Hi.
Good evening. Welcome to our fireside. I hope you enjoy. So, Leah and I are both music therapists, right? And we're a little bit short on time because we've had such a full afternoon, so we're going to jump ahead a little bit. So to start off with, and what we're doing, this isn't an academic paper, this is a fireside chat, so it's a bit of a discussion. And we're essentially going to discuss how we met and how our musical interaction sort of evolved over time. And we're going to finish up with a little bit of live musicking with a potential special guest. So Leah, to start off with, can you tell us about our first meeting, how we first met?
Yeah, so I was actually studying in Hong Kong, and I'm from Hong Kong as well. I studied my bachelor in Hong Kong University. Then I decided to pursue my career and like my studies in Australia. So I chose like Western Sydney University and studied Master of Creative Music Therapy. So how we met is actually quite funny because by then it's like in 2001, so it's COVID time. I cannot fly to Australia. I must stay in Hong Kong, and we're doing Zoom. So you remember the first time we met? Yeah, it was like
So
doing
we
Zoom. And
We had 5 laptops in the lecture theatre for the international
For
students
us,
who couldn't get a visa at the time.
Yeah, it's like lockdown and we cannot get the visa, so I was staying in Hong Kong for a year. And by then I was like talking with Ollie about, I don't have any ideas about how to improvise, but our course is about creative music therapy. There's a lot of like improvisation and music making as well. And as you remember, I was like asking you from Zoom, and it's like, oh, how do I do it? But I still have no ideas what was going on, but I'm trying to learn more. There's a lot of like school lines I can also follow. Then after a year, finally I can go into Australia. I was in Sydney. And then we finally met in person. We talked a lot about, hey, I don't know how to improvise in my Guzheng. And I was like, oh, it's very struggle for me because I have a traditional Chinese background, like learning music. I was learning my Guzheng since I was 4. And what I have been doing is actually follow the note sheets, and I just play the exact notes in the sheet, whatever sheet they give us. So that's why when I collaborate with Western music or like guitars, pianos, for me it's a new thing for me. I never tried it before, and I was kind of like, oh, I need a lot of like guidance, supervision. So from Ollie, he was talking about, oh, how can we do it? We can also like improvise the pentatonic scales, or even whole tone scales, or even blues scales, like wood scales and pentatonic scales, similar. And by then I was starting to have more and more experience to explore outside of my box. So I have been like circling myself, only I can play Chinese music. But no, in fact, I learned about like during the course. Actually, I was playing with my friend Big Boxer. I was playing with my friend Louise. They are playing piano, guitars, different kind of instruments. So we can also do like collaboration. So by then, I evolved like, oh, I realized that during the training, not only I have been learning about what kind of patterns, what kind of scales, or what kind of like rhythm I should do. But also I also learned about being a music therapist, we should be open to accept anything that like came in, because the world is always changing. It's changing really fast. And if we like gonna stop in this spot, like we don't think outside, we're gonna like never improve. But I'm very grateful that I have the opportunity to study in Western Sydney. So that's why how I try to do more with my guzheng. And now, not only I'm playing, like being a music therapist, but I also a musician right now, like playing jazz gig, blues, or even pop music. So this really helped me.
Jazz on the guzheng.
Yes, like fly me to the moon. Yeah. If you're interested, you can take a look.
So I didn't quite realize. So when Leah finally got her visa, and she's saying, you know, like whole tone scales is pentatonic. You can't play whole tone scales.
Yeah.
There's no tritones. What do you mean there's no tritones?
Yes, I was like, huh? What is full tone scale? I don't know how to play.
And so there was actually, there was the nomenclature, which is a hard word to say, and it's a big word that means big words. So we had different ways to talk about music, and so the different ways to understand, and I hadn't realized the extent of it. And that's actually my area of interest in teaching. It always has been, but it's been more of a Western classical music focus. How do I support people, say, people with an Elmas in piano or an Elmas on the violin? How do we support them to be really flexible and access their skills? So then with Leah, I would say dabbled in musics from various parts of Asia. And I say musics with an S because it's really looking at the culture of the music, not music from different cultures, but within different musical traditions, there's all this culture of how musicians respond to each other, and even when instruments look similar or have similar functions, they can have different social interactions. And so there's all this sort of misfiring that I was sort of putting this stuff out, and when you've got a class of 50 people, you're trying to reach everybody, and then Leah's was coming away, and then I think one day you had a guzheng in the practice rooms, and I think Sean was there as well.
Yeah, Sean was there. Yeah.
And there's just bend it, like play whole tones, just bend it, and because I know that's one of the expressive techniques on the guzheng is that you get this vibrato by bending from behind the bridge, and that started to unlock. I think that was the connection then.
Yeah, that was the day that I realized that I haven't reached any potentially after guzheng I can actually play more.
Yeah.
Like what you have talked about it, I was like, oh yeah, I have been restricting myself into just only playing pentatonic. Actually, I can play a lot of things as well.
Yeah. And it wasn't really until after Leah had graduated and returned to Hong Kong. And she sent an email one day and said, oh, I'm back in Sydney, let's stop off for lunch or something. And so we were just chatting on Facebook Messenger, and I discovered that whole first year on Zoom, I was just blah, 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 blah. I wasn't actually making anything accessible at all. And that's been the focus of my research, and here I was missing another, wow. Leah, as you can see, Leah is very social, and she'll actually say, well, what is it? It doesn't make sense.
Yes. Yeah, I do care.
Yeah, and so, eventually, it's sort of, okay, all right, well, how can we make this sense? Yeah. And so it was from my teaching practice, and I'm quite reflective in my teaching practice, and it was that big wake-up call was, oh, you're not the flexibility guru because you completely missed the mark there. But so we all live and we learn, and we, that reflection feeds into our development and stuff, so yeah. Yeah. So perhaps so Leah, how did you try and work out what the hell this weird Australian academic was cracking on about?
You mean in our course?
So when you're in Hong Kong, you had an expedition to work out what's happening.
Well, to be honest to you, when I was doing Zoom, it's 5 a.m. in Hong Kong or something. 5. I need to wake up at 5 and my class at 6, and I was I have no clue what I'm doing. But slowly, when I was looking at a lot of stuff, all the materials I was looking, I still remember that day. It was a completely shock for me because, as I have said, I'm from a very traditional trained backgrounds. I just follow whatever I see. I just follow whatever I need to play. Then at that moment, there is a framework. I still remember it's +1 or something. I think it's you.
Plus one workshop. Plus more, is it?
Yeah, plus more. Yes. So,
So maybe we should explain the plus more because it's a bit unique to Western. Right? So we have these when we teach music therapy skills, applied musicianship, we have these streams. So we have the big 3, we have a voice stream, we have a guitar stream, and a piano stream. And then we have this fourth stream called Plus More. And that was my little baby. And that's where we got to do stuff like play with single line instruments and really explore melody. So we'd have these drum circles, but instead of djembes, we had like cellos and accordions and violins and bassoons. You might have seen some photos of our Plus More workshops in Al's presentation. We had 2 bassoons one year, wow. And so we had all these kinds of things. And so there's Plus More, and it's a bit of a weird concept, and it's really about halfway through second semester, the concept of Plus More. And there's other things like oral and sort of like music theory and percussion. I've got like a 2-hour workshop on mallets. Gee, it's so much fun. I love it. I get so into it. But yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the Plus More. So it's all those extra bits that really build out your applied musicianship. So yeah, we're in Plus More on Zoom.
Yeah, I was like, still remember that day, I was like, what is chord progression? The question about like, what is it? Like, I was kind of really confused about the whole thing. Like, even though I was like new, I'm trying to learn piano, guitar as well, but I have no clue about at all.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, can I graduate? Like, oh my god, like what is that? Yeah, so as I have said, I have not much about music therapy background as well, theory background. So I was like, what do you do for that? And they was like, oh, play different kind of chord progression. I still remember, I was like, but why?
Yeah.
I asked you,
So
but why?
what a great explanation. What's a chord? What do you do with the chord progression? Well, you just
Yeah,
play
I was
different chord
asking-
progressions.
I was like, what is
Yeah.
chord progression?
And I guess that's that cultural divide where chord progressions don't feature in the traditional Chinese music that Leah grew up
I
playing.
just like things like they do like orchestra, they do like that too as well.
Yeah.
Like everyone have their own part, but because everyone have different kind of experience. My experience is I just learn only how to read and play. So for me, I have no concept about how to improvise, how to play out of the box, how to play Western music. I have never learned about it. But until that moment, I just realized, oh gosh, I really know nothing about like music. I need to put on more, and like that really helped me because I realized that okay, so these kind of things I can make different kind of feelings, make different the dynamics on playing my instruments, and not only like the chord progression, but also like the melody. How can I like look about it? You talk about different kind of scales, and yeah, I know blues scales. I listened to like some blues music when I was young, but I never really tried to explore to play in guzheng. So that time I was like, wow, like there's like different kind of scales. I never really tried. I just look in the sheets, play, but I just realized that if I want to improvise, I need to learn some scales, not only just pentatonic, different kind of things. So by now I keep practicing. I keep like doing with my friends, like start to covering music in my Instagram, like these kind of things. And also I was trying to go to jam a lot when I was in Hong Kong. And then I realized that, whoa, this is how we do. This is actually the way, the snap like point that I find out, oh, that's how I do improvise. And it helped me a lot. Yeah.
Cool. We just got our 5-minute warning. So
Yeah.
the last 5 minutes, we were planning to talk a bit longer, but hopefully that gives you a bit of an insight into the oh my god moment. How did I miss this? And then Leah's journey into working her way through it all. So actually, now we've never improvised as a duet before, right? So we've improvised in the class where there's like 15 or so people in the class, but never just the two of us. So we're gonna. The only cheat that I did is I said, what key is your tune into? So I cheated. And she's put me in 4 sharps, which is lovely.
Oh god. Yeah.
So off we go. We'll just get the nails on, and then we can get cracking.
Yeah, so
Can we get a volunteer to hold some mics for us? Is that all right? Yeah.
wow. Oh.
Cool.
Everyone's so excited.
So, yeah, I also.
Where's the
think
best
that-
place to mic that one?
I think it's loud.
Huh?
Yeah, I think it's fine.
Really?
Yeah.
You reckon? We don't need to mic it? Okay.
No,
We're gonna go
really.
for it.
Really?
Cool. All right.
Yeah, so I do
Good job, guys.
improvise with different kind of music instruments.
Yeah.
That's why there's a guitar there as well, and I do a beatboxing as well. And now because we don't have enough time.
Here we go.
Here we go. Recognition. Thank you.
Who's starting?
Who's starting?
Scissors?
Okay, I start.